Hello, everybody. I'm Brad Barfield with Outside of the Grid podcast. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas to you. Hey, man, I got some strange shit for you. You know, this is Outside of the Grid. I hope you didn't come here looking for I want to watch somebody walk on the straight line. I like everything. I like to be Euclidean, and it has to be square. And this man, he walks in a straight line, and he walks all the way to the end of this line, and he turns left, or he turns right, or he goes straight, but he walks inside the straight line. And if you do circle, it must be very precise. You cannot use any kind of anything but math. You cannot use artistry. This is word that means you use Mother Earth to guide you, because anyway, that's outside of the grid, man. You know, it's also multiple personality disorder too. Just so it's clear, you know, maybe it is. I don't know. Could be the overutilization of cannabis sativa. Probably not, though. Could be a Diet Coke. It's not alcohol. I'm sober. For the first time since 2021, I'm, actually, I think it was July the 26th of 2021. I'm sober for at least 3 weeks. That's something new. So I went a week before, you know. A week or two, you know, but this is 3 weeks, it's, you know, coming up on a new year. Probably had to make some changes, you know. These weren't bad, but who wants it to be too bad for you change? But I wanted to experiment. I had a great time, you know. I went down the bourbon trails and the beer trails and the wine trails and over and over and over and over again for the past 2 or 3 years. And hopefully I'm done with it for a while. What I'm doing, though, is one of the things I'm here bringing you outside of the grid today is so that you could look at some numerology with me. I did this little drawing for you. And if my calculations are correct, you should be seeing 2024. If you're not, well, Antonio, he did all. Brad, you tried to blame Antonio for doing the math calculations incorrectly. We're doing numerology. So, there's going to be some math. It won't be that complicated of math. You're going to be fine. I'm going to hold your hand. And if we get something wrong, guess what? We're going to be okay. And you can make fun of me all you want to. I love you anyway. Because I'm a master too. If you look at my name, I don't know if this shit was planned or not. I think the universe planned it. It's a conspiracy. The universe planned it. It's just a weird coincidence. I just happen to be one of those people that put into a situation where I recognize it. And I bet you it happens a lot. Because there's lots and lots of patterns. Because that's what we're going to be looking at today with numerology, some patterns. This is another page here that has some patterns. You see some patterns there? Let me see if I can see. There you go. If you'll see, I got numbers written on there. I got some numbers written on there. And what I've done is I've got 3 sets of numbers. I have a year right there through the middle. And it starts out at 2014. And it goes 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 21, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So I'm just kind of running through a couple of instances of the numbers. So that you'll see that just not every 10 years that they're the same, because there's, you know, the world's different. We'll get to all that here in a little while. And probably another podcast or so if you want to talk about it. I don't want to go too deep with it. I'm just going to keep the very, you know, the ramparts of it, the edges, the big numbers, the big picture. You know, we're not breaking anyone down. I'm not going to break you down. I'm going to go, excuse me, lady. Can I please have your birth date? It would get me so good to have your birthday on my numbers.com. That's Antonio speaking, not Brad, okay? Leave Brad out of it. Brad's just an ordinary, average guy. And all the songs sound the same. They're all beautiful. My favorite one is my Maserati does 185. I lost my license, now I don't drive. Rocky Mountain High. Joe Walsh, man. Even though I'm a dudist, and dudists are supposed to, hey man, I hate the fucking Eagles, man. Well, that's not really who we are, though. We don't hate the Eagles. I went through a while of hating the Eagles. I hit 50, I understood the Eagles. The Eagles must have been like old forever or something. But anyway, we're not talking about the dude. We're not talking about the Eagles. We're talking about these numbers. Brad, numerology. So let's look at it here for a minute. Because let's just back up though. So again, 2014. Let's just kind of get a context. Let's kind of look at these numbers here. So 2014 was a 7. 2015 was an 8. So you just think about those years. But don't just think about those years. Think about the year before them. Because really, what's going to happen next year is kind of contingent upon what happens this year. So you have to look at a 2-year period there. Like an 8, a 9. But you can just look at one or the other. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to fence you in and say, I don't want anybody to go, Antonio drop up on this radio show on the .com. He said that these numbers cannot be used. No, I'm looking at context here, okay? So we're spreading out, we're just kind of spreading the numbers out. We're going to look at a big thing. We're just looking at like a year or two added together, because that's, to me, you got to look at context. So if I didn't just tell you the context of what I'm going to be doing, then you'd be going, what is he talking about? This got these numbers, this got this number, that's so excited about this number, but nobody wants to tell you what this number means. That's not what it is. So let's look at these years. Let's put on some glasses real quick and look at these years. How about that? .com. So, and then also, so like, let me break this out a bit more. So I got the year here, what that year's number is if you just add those 4 things together. And the number I have down here is the number of my birthday with the year that's currently in. So on 2014, this 9 down here was 11/18/2014, which is my birth date. But I wasn't born in 2014. That's just, that number there is whatever year it is plus my birthday. So I figured out of this, and it should go in a pattern. It'll be 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see the year. And then there's a whole bunch of other numbers here that you have to add in, okay? You can add things together and blend and look at different things. And different people have different methodologies. But again, we're not getting that deep with it. We're not. All we're doing is just looking at the big numbers, the big pictures, and the big trends, the things that's going to be big. And I want to tell you about one right now. I can't hold off on it. And because you scan down through here and you say 2015 was an 8, 2016 was a 9. A 9 means an end of an era, that something new is going to happen. What am I talking about? Oh no, we're talking about numbers, man. Again, the rational Brad, whom could be whom you're speaking with now. He's kind of like the narrator of everything. But can a narrator be introducing himself in third person? 2024. 2024. You see there's an 8 there at the bottom of that page. And if you add up those numbers, 2 plus 0, and you see the 0 is kind of blue, don't you? It's like the rest of them are, there's some similarities there, But the blue comes by itself. But don't count that blue out there, okay? Because it's a placeholder. Yes, we're all a placeholder, but there's some important things going on there too. There's a 2024. You add them all together, you get 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 4 is 8. There's a lot of things to be said about 8. 8 is not the end. 9 is the end. If you put all these numbers on a chart, and I've done this for you. I'm trying to make sure I got it right here. I started out at 2014. I'm not going to make it easy for you and create your little spreadsheet for you. You can do it yourself. I'll show you what I've done here. If you look on this sheet, you'll see a year right down the middle, and it should start with 2014. So go to 2014. You can draw your own little map, man. Come on. That's what you got to do with numbers. You got to draw them. You got to write them. You got to, because the 8, you got to spin it around. You got to practice doing that 8. And you got to remember this about numbers. They come in sets. They are one individual thing, so you need to look at those individual numbers. But you need to look at that whole set, like the 1 through 9, which includes a 0 in there. It could be 0 through 9. Maybe that's your set. There's a set there. I don't know. People have different interpretations of what it means. I'm not getting into any kind of philosophical debate today about numerology. We're going to be looking at big trends in numerology. We're going to look at set theory, I guess you could say, if you're a mathematician. It's a set theory. You're going to look at a set of numbers, a set of years. I got the heat warming here. But that's okay. I need to be red-faced right now, because I'm talking about these next few years and what's been going on. Anyway, so this is interesting. So if you look at 2024, the last time we had an 8 was 2015. 2015, think about 2015. But don't just think about 2015. Think about what led up to 2015. You got to think about the 1 or 2, 3 years before. Specifically those 2 years, the year of and the year before. Those are always important. But the whole set's important because there's always usually things going on via decade. You know, like Generation X is from this to this, or from that to that, or this to this, and where to where, who to who, to what, whatever. But there's usually like a trend, and that's what we're looking for here. And I want to show you some really big trends. If you're a Delphi fan, not a fan, I don't know really what you call us. Not really aficionados. They're people that, I'll tell you what it is. You know, it's people. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a bunch of people in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s that have kids or grandkids that are about the age of those girls in 2003, and those kids are about 20-something now, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, or any kid of any age, because there were two children murdered in broad daylight in a small town on a day off from school on a Monday. And it took a long time to even get anything done, any person arrested. And now we got the craziest shit show you've ever seen in your entire life. And then also, in the background, we have this huge political mess going on. It's really weird that those two things tie together, because they start at the beginning of a set in a lot of ways. Let's look at it. So, if you look, and you count those numbers we were just talking about, you would have, the last time, 10 years ago in 2014 was a 7, but we don't have a 1 until we get to 2017. And 2017 is when you had the girls murdered on February the 13th. And you had a brand new person that had never ever been in office before, a new kind of a thing, that was elected president. And they went into office at this time. Now you got to look back here to the 7s and the 8s, the busy time of the whole generation, the 10 years, the set, to see what all happened to lead to something. But things do come into trends. They come into this 10-year deal, man. Sometimes it can carry over, yes. But it's different. It's a different kind of a trend that it's in. It's a different thing, So, but if you look at this, again, this was number 1, number 2017. I bet it was all over the world. It probably just wasn't with the presidency of the United States and Delphi. But there's a lot of stuff that went on. And a lot of it doesn't get closure. If you look here, since like 2017, you're not going to see closure until 2026. It's a new thing. You're getting closure in 2025. But really, we're at 8 right now. This is not done. There's a lot of things that are yet to be done. 8 is the apex. It's almost the apex. By the end of the 8, it'd be the apex. It'd be the. I mean, we're not even to the wild parts yet. Is what I'm trying to say. This thing has not resolved itself. There is a huge thing going on. It's not resolved itself. And I'm talking about this Delphi thing, and I'm talking about this the direction of the United States. I'm talking about all kinds of things tied up into this. In my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, I'm not trying to push it off on you. I'm just trying to look at the trends and just see, the way things usually go. Because it's really weird. And I just kind of run through what some of the numbers mean in a particular set. And you're keeping it very broad, I'm just trying to talk about, like I said earlier, it's like, you have this number, this number, this number, and my numbers. And by the way, I'm a master 11 is what I am. 11 number, master number. My name, my full name, and my birth date are master numbers, the same one. It's 11 or 2. So, I started out, I don't know what it was. Maybe I drew them to me. I believe in materializing things. I think if you think about things, you can draw it to you. People hypnotize themselves to certain things. I mean, they start thinking about it and they draw pictures about it and they think and they think and they think and they do and they do and they do and finally it does. But there's some weird things that go on. If you don't, and not everything gets brought to the front. But I was just watching this crime documentary before we went on, and there wasn't resolution for lots of things out there yet. This is it. I mean, it's just. But anyway, all right. So let's go back to the numbers for a minute. I kind of got off course there. But again, we're outside the grid. Multiple personalities. But let's look at some numbers that break it down here. So 2017 1 is typically a new beginning. It's usually things are really pretty starry and bright and just it's kind of you can think of this to me like the yugas that you would find in India and Hinduism. But it's different. It's just a numerologist perspective. Numerology, people look at things differently. And I'm not a trained numerologist. I just like to see trends in numbers and how they result specifically tied to us. This whole thing is a great big puzzle. Look at the DNA that we have on this planet. Look at the way this thing is unfolded. I'll tell you this. This is so fascinating to me. And I've got a lot of time on my hands over the years. Just sitting and thinking. I've thought about these things. I'm a master number. Like I said, I read all these books when I was young, and it's all about this numerology stuff. It was stuff that was available to me. It was stuff that my esoteric parents were into. But now I studied evolution, and I've studied the esoteric things in life and religion, and I went off deep into Christianity and Buddhism and Taoism and Protestantism. I went to explore Judaism. I was at one point in time I was thinking of converting to be a Jew. I really liked it. My name was already so close anyway. I could just take that, I out of there. And there's already some Jewish surnames that are Barfield. I could do it. But this is an active mind, active imagination, crazy active imagination. Crazy, just drawing pictures and numbers on pieces of paper and showing it to a camera. Hello, the numbers are here. I also like dogs. Like dogs. Dogs. It kind of sounds manic, doesn't it? Am I manic? I'm not really manic. I actually am at a point of being 3 weeks sober. What does that mean? We report, you decide, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for your latest observations. But I've been sober from 15, which is an 8, 9. It took me there to the end. It took about February or so to get cleared out. And then that was my sobriety until right there, 2021. So I was sober all of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then part of 21. To July the 26th, and then I started drinking, and I drank all of 22, and I was 23, almost. So, 2.5, 3 years. And that was over 3 weeks. And this is one of those things where you come out, well, I've looked at my past, and I can say, well, I'm probably done with it for a while. But I usually go to about 5 to 2 trends. Again, I stay sober 5 years, and then I drink a couple years. Sober 5 years, and I drink a couple years. It's sometimes the periods were a little bit longer. Sometimes they're a little bit shorter. But I've been drinking since I was a kid. When I say a kid, I mean like young. And I think they had to haul me in. I've been an addict since young. I got hauled in when I was like 2, and had to have my stomach pumped. And then another time I had to have my stomach pumped. People just leave pills around. This is the 70s. It's a whole different fucking world what people live in now. There's just a totally different world. Back then we got up 4 o'clock in the morning for Santa Claus, man. Santa Claus better get this shit done early back in the 70s and 80s. These days people are like, fuck it, I ain't living anywhere. I ain't worried about it. I get toys every day. But anyway, that wasn't exactly how it was for me. Like I said, I was drinking pretty much full time from 5 on. My parents were divorced from about 5 or 6, and it's some of that spirituality thing. I think that you really have to to get your brain to see a world on a spiritual level, you have to go through some kind of adversity. You don't just wake up one day and everything be perfect for you for your whole life. You have to have some kind of a story. It's just boring. I was born, and I was totally wealthy forever and had no problems. Everything was great, man. It was rock and roll. It's not rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll, a lot of the times, is a Sweet 27 Club, what they call it, It's not always sweet. So, life's complicated. I grew up in a very specific time, 60s and 70s, but I was about protected. And, I had a Native American grandmother and a grandfather we had some religious people show up in the driveway one time, and they were like, Jesus. My papa, he pulled out his 30-30, and he made sure they understood they weren't as welcome to talk about the things that they were talking about there, were they? Well, anyway, so there's a world. I mean, I'm trying to put things in context for you here. My life, my world, I grew up like that, went to college, graduate school, all those type things, and did all these weird shit, and then, kind of slowed down in my 30s. But I've always studied the esoteric. I've spent so many hours with it, just studying a lot of it. I know what it is. I mean, I'm also have degrees in psychology. I know what it is. This thing is people. It's connecting dots that may or may not be there. I mean, I understand it, but it's fine. So let's continue with it. So, that for me, that was a 6 year. That was a middle of shit. 7 year is 7 years kind of in the middle of it. You're rocking and rolling. You got. It's not. It's the end of the year, but it's not the end of the decade. You got stuff to do. See, this was again for me. An 8 year, the last 8 year was 2015. I started rocking and rolling, baby. I started gearing up. Now, the really good stuff occurred for me after that between, I don't know, probably the 2, But there's this whole winding down thing. But I was winding some stuff down back then. That's a good point. Let me look at it. Let me look at it. Be honest with you. Like, it's kind of a winding down of things. You were winding down of the Obama administration. You were winding down all kinds of things. There was the Me Too movement coming along around 2017. Man, there's all kinds of stuff that came along around then. That was a very busy time, if you remember. There was all kinds of things going on back then. And a lot of it has never been resolved, including this Delphi case. Why has it not been resolved? Why is it not resolved for us yet? Well, according to this, it will be over and done. The 9 year associated with that is 2025. So it's not there yet. We have another year at least. And if you really think about it, that doesn't necessarily coincide with an election. So the election this time is on 2024, which is an 8. And then you have a 9. You have another year there. There are unresolved shit even after the election. This is going to be some tricky shit. But now again, it comes back to a new era, a new set that'll come up again in 2026, and it may not be the set that we've been used to. We have no idea what direction our country may go with all the trends that are going on now. It's different. This is not the 80s, baby. Everybody was free and happy. We just got out of the Cold War. We're getting out of it. We saw it on the horizon. And in the 90s, we got depressed because we were out of it, basically. But we had other shit going on, man. We had to make money. We had to deal with all the psychological issues that we went through in the 70s and 80s. That was some wild fucking times. I mean, we're still solving cases from the 70s and 80s right now out there because there's so much shit going on, man. They had to invent DNA just to slow it down some. Kidnapping and murder and just rampant drug and alcohol use. It wasn't just 5-year-olds in 1976 that were drinking alcohol. Everybody was drinking alcohol. All of the time. And that shit can make you wild if you don't have a presence of mind. If you drink too much and you black out, you don't know what you're doing. People don't know. I've seen it. That shit scares me. I was told a long time ago my grandfather was in medicine. Now, he was the type of guy that he kept a bottle of old Charter, which is now made by Buffalo Trace. And I've been on the bourbon trail. I can tell you about it, baby. I know about all those distilleries. That's not the same Charter Grandpa knew. Could be better, could be better, could be worse. I don't know. You have to try for yourself. But it's not an 8-year-old whiskey. It's kind of like bourbon. It's kind of like their name face, their Buffalo Trace. But then again, it could have a different mash. Whatever the Buffalo Trace produces to me smells and tastes like apples. I don't know if it's the wood they source, or the ones I've drank, over the past couple of years, but it's very appley. But anyway, so I don't think there's a lot of resolution that's going to occur. I think that what I would advise, this is my part 1 analysis. Now, I hadn't really got deep with it yet, but what I would advise for everybody right now is that a lot of people have already done what I'm going to suggest to do. A lot of people have not done what I'm going to suggest to do, which is just kind of sit down and write the number out, 2024, and play with these here numbers here too. It's a fun thing, and it keeps your mind busy, and it lets you think about your past. And lets you also think about your future. Because you can sit there and you think, this is what I did last decade. And you can do your whole life. I've actually plotted out my whole life on this thing. So specifically my sobriety moments. And then, I've been sober more than half of my life. That's always good, right? Well, anyway, write those numbers down. See what it means to you. See what kind of trends. Let me know what you think about numerology. I love numerology. Again, outside the grid. Blah, 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 blah. Appreciate you stopping by and listening to the show. Merry Christmas. Got any questions, you can contact us at the email address on the About part of our page. It's outside of the grid, spelled backwards, at gmail.com. Be blessed.